What is up, YouTube? Today we're going to try to finish up this piston. We didn't get to finish it yesterday, so we got still the other eye to do. We're going to do some more definition on these teeth. We'll get the tongue carved in there, and then we'll decide where we're going to go from there. So let's get going with it. All right, YouTubers, what are your guys looking like? Feel free to send me some pictures. I'd love to see what you guys are coming up with. So anything you mess up, obviously I've made some big mistakes here. Some things that I didn't like. I personally do not like this eye. I feel like I didn't make it look the way I wanted to, so there's always a solution to it. I might make this eye look like his eye's falling out, or maybe he has something in his eye like a knife or an arrow or an axe or something neat, you know. You can just keep playing with it and keep changing it, manipulating it. Trust me, my first few were pretty rough, to say the least. But they turned out, they worked out all right, you know. So it's just trial and error, and it's fun to do. And usually you could pick up these pistons at most mechanic shops, places around your town that would work on cars. The recycle yard, sometimes they'll let you buy them for the scrap value. So they're not too hard to find. Any trashed lawnmower motors, chainsaw motors, it's really fun. You get some real small pistons out of it. That makes for, you know, really fun carving and really detailed work. But yeah, stick with it, and we'll see where it ends up. So now we've progressed pretty far with the skulls. I did a little bit of work off camera. I stitched over his eye. I messed up and didn't like the way it looked, so it seemed like an easy way to fix it. Now, what else I did that I wanted to do on camera for you guys, but I didn't. I made him a tongue out of copper, and you can see it's got this ridge across the back. Now, to get that ridge, all I did was took some cheap pliers that I had, and I welded. Oh, let me get it real quick. I welded a small piece of rod on that side of the pliers and 2 pieces on that side, and actually made a tool which allowed me to do some cool shaping into it. So all I did was I took the metal with my little tool I made and I just crimped it in, and then I came over to my anvil with a chasing hammer and I just planished it out a little bit and cleaned it up. Now, of course we don't want just a flat tongue, so we got to do something really fun with it. So what I'll do is I'll take the horn of the anvil, and if you don't have an anvil, there's lots of other things you could use to do the same exact thing. A piece of round pipe, a piece of wood even, anything that has a rounded shape to it, and just a normal hammer. You want to use a smooth faced hammer so you're not dinging up the copper real bad, unless you want texture on your tongue or something if you're going to do a tongue. It looks like that tongue's a bit big. We'll end up cutting it down, and we'll just keep that same cool looking design. So that's how I did my tongue. So now it's got this real cool little tongue on it. We could change that shape if we want, and do all kinds of different things with it. Right here what we're doing is finding a way to mount the tongue. Because the tongue is copper, I'm not able to weld it to the aluminum. I'm just using a MIG welder as well, so I'm not able to weld to the aluminum. What I'm doing now is I'm putting the rod connector in, and then I'm welding a piece of scrap metal to it, which will later be something that we can mount the tongue to. You'll see here I'm just trying to find a couple different pieces to determine what would be best used for us to mount this tongue. Here I'm trying to find pieces that I think are going to work good to mount that tongue to. I end up going with this little ring. It seemed like a perfect little piece. Because I would be able to mount other things to the ring if I needed to. What we ended up doing was drilling a hole through the tongue, mounting a bolt to that ring. The bolt goes through the tongue, and then I welded on top of the bolt, therefore not allowing the tongue to come off. This is it with the ring welded to it before the bolt. And there you have it, YouTube. With just a little bit of creativity, some patience, a piston and a Dremel. I did also use a welder, but you could use glue if you didn't have a welder. Like and subscribe button. Anything that you guys want to see in the future, put in the comments for me. Let me know. Any fun metal projects, anything you guys would like to know how to do, or how I do it at least. This is an assortment of some of the pistons and other stuff I've done lately. Like I said, if you just stick with it and take your time, you can pretty much make anything you want.